Alafia Sangoma Oludoye here again for seasons such as this. And this is my discipline to really concentrate on speaking slowly enough. For one thing, I do a lot of watching of videos like this, and a lot of times I do it as my day is winding down or I'm laying down for a nap for that very reason. Some people talk fast, some people talk slow, and I really want to go into the meaning, why certain words are chosen, why certain things are said. So that's kind of a heads up to today's little lesson tidbit as we came into this particular season, this particular time, after Hurricane Florence, in the wake of so much, the least of which would be that we have to help our neighbors and our brothers and sisters who have lost everything. And so I remember seeing in all these rolls of parts, we catch the different news clips at a time, and we saw the tragedy of people really coming to. Wow, you go through a storm, a lot of rain, low wind, things get smashed around, but oh my goodness, 3 days later, dams break and rivers rise, and then it takes a different tone for your weatherman saying, please do not be fooled by the fact that the eye of the storm is so-and-so, or the category of it is so-and-so. We're telling you that waters are going to rise. And I thought, in the moment of watching it, of really watching it, people being lifted in helicopters and things, I thought, what a tragedy to have your life ripped away from you. It reminded me of the children in the cages at the border who've had their lives ripped away from them. It reminded me of innocent people of color in this country that lose their life in a second, unarmed, and their families bury them, and they have that very same thought. My God, my child's life was ripped away from them in a second. So yeah, and for everyone, not just Yoruba priestesses or people very familiar with the energy of Oya, when do you see her just come through and sit like that for a few days? Anybody else notice that? I mean, hurricanes usually come in their dance and keep on momentum and move with a speed. And so I have to say, and I'm not trying to be cruel, I wasn't really shocked at all. I think I said it to the friends here in my environment, think about it. Oya, the mother of storms, dances with a whip and a sword. And she fights for the underdog. She fights for those that she feels has no voice. And so she took her time to come upon the shores of a country that would have children in cages, or have the type of things that we're moving through in our country now, where we say, well, what do we value? What's happening? Did I fall asleep and wake up in somebody else's nightmare where the values or the democracy or whatever the goal words are for being decent people with one another has left the building? So we're all trying to figure that out. And when I pondered that in terms of this next offering that we bring to you, what came through was that we just really have to stop looking outside of ourselves for the leaders and the answers. That's just point blank. Because the answers we seek have always been within. In Christian circles, they would tell you, seek the kingdom of God first, and everything else shall be added unto you. And so when people say, oh, well, we know you're not a Christian. Of course, parts of me are, because I was raised in it. And so where certain folks stumble and fall trying to just switch, in such that resolution of duality, I didn't have any switch. We grow, we evolve, we carry with us all of the good wisdom that's come along the way. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So we want to really bring that point home, that a lot of what this running outside of ourselves and this teacher or this machine or this program, it's inside. It's inside, and as we go into the going within place of the West Gate, coming to this fall equinox, that is what we do. We go within our own reflections to move out some things that no longer serve us, get really sure about what does serve us, and hone that in and allow it to germinate. Just like seeds go under the ground in the winter and germinate, this has to germinate within us through the winter season. Otherwise, there's no rebirth in the spring, or a very poor one, or a miscarriage. And then people look around going, oh, I thought I was going to do. No, that's why they are pregnancies before births, because we have to do these things decent and in order. So, you know, right here in this space, and bringing it home to myself, I really thought, well, right. So how do we fine tune or crystallize what was the vision on the 9/9 gate of the new moon of September, and how are we bringing that forward into this action place of Aries? And how blessed was I to be right on the top of this mountain with at least 7 other women for the dark moon in September, with very focused energies and intentions, and a calling of the directions, and a fire pit, like so many pieces, you know, Kuan Yin and the Buddha, and little baby children running around. I had the best of it for this new moon in September. And I have to say that the expectation or the grounding for my vision coming into its manifestation through action, Aries, the full moon, is to have more of that. More amazing circles on the full or the new moon, on top of a mountain where all the clouds are your witnesses. Yeah, more of that. So get very specific. You know, the old people always told me, if you ask something, God, the universe, whatever, generally, you'll get a general answer. But when you get very specific about what you're asking, you get more specific answers. So there's that. The other thing to remember is to allow time to transform these ideas on the inside to move out into the outer reality. Nothing is created overnight. Magic is real, but the ideas that we now have, I believe, that are encoded in us for just this time, just this season in the world, should be, you know, nurtured really slowly. It's like, you know, little kindergarten students learning one shape at a time, one color at a time, one number at a time, how to write A, then B, then C. Think about putting these things in order, because there's a lot coming at us. We're about to get to that in a minute. There's a lot coming at us now. And one common thread, I will say that, that's come up in the classes, teaching at Raven and the Crone and so forth, is the discernment. And how many people recognize that that's a tool that's not real present in a lot of medicine bags, is the ability to discern. Whether you're talking about real friends, fraudulent friends, people's intentions, people's hidden agendas, we got to be able to discern these things. Because aren't you tired of bumping around into train wrecks? I know I am. And so we want to consider that creativity in all of its forms is represented by the cosmos. And the cosmos we most take as a word for, like, us, the celestial beings, the forces of nature, all that is the cosmos. And so it says that in seasons such as this, if we'll give our attention to our creative endeavors and projects, we ensure their success. This is my discipline. Let me slow it down, say that again, because that was big. You could give your attention to less frugal things like sales at Michael's or Walmart or something. Or you could follow this divine guidance for this particular energy coming into the season of Libra, bringing things to balance, and a full moon in Aries that says that you got to keep taking action. We're going to get to that. You got to keep taking action. And say, okay, if I give my attention as much as I can, other than my job, feeding myself, keeping, you know, the house clean, whatever, to my creative projects and endeavors, that will ensure their success. So that way you don't have to call 6 people and go, what shall I do to make this work? What shall I do to get the money I want to get? What shall I do? Looking outside yourself for the answers and the leaders. When on the inside, you simply know that if you give your attention to these projects, you will ensure their success. And so again, let's go back to that take action part. Aries, if you are in any doubt at all why Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, check again. Okay. Aries is like a freight train moving. They don't back up. They don't take no for an answer. They're very, very, very strong move forward energy. This is where we at. We had hurricane come through, slow us down to a great extent so that we could take a look at some things. And then after that period of reflection, say, okay, here's this energy. We're going to bring you all the energy you need. You won't be tired right through here. Because this is a time of energy. The weather's going to get a little chillier, crisper. You can move. No, there's no excuse on the table. And so you want to make sure that each and every day you take action toward your goals, right? And so now we move into that part that talks about what keeps us from taking action. We have to get out of our own way. We have to quit overthinking a thing. The difference between a seer and a reader I wrote down. Because some people don't know. They might think they're the same thing. The knowledge of a reader comes from sight of their physical eyes. And the wisdom of a seer, or the inner knowing, is what is seen through the sight or the spiritual sight of the third eye. Two different things. See how that works out? And so you got to know how you're looking. You got to know what's real. This is like when we say, well, some people are in the reality, some are in the illusion. Some are trapped in between. Discernment. Get really clear. Because a lot of times it's not that we don't have our own answers on the inside. It's that we don't believe them. We don't believe ourselves or our inner voice or God, Goddess, as it expresses itself through our divine inspiration. Can't imagine why that is, but it does happen. In seasons such as this, there is a great testing of the soul testing. And so we got to watch out for spiritual material conflict. What you going to do? You going to run after money? Here's the saying that one of our chiefs, Iba, in heaven told us, one Obatala Festival. He said, you know, if you always run and chase after money, you'll never find it. But when you do what you're supposed to do, money finds you. I am a living witness of this right here. It's just true. It's just true. And I have great stories, and there'll be some video in the future coming real soon, because our action is to get real serious about these books coming out for y'all. I found myself rewriting prayers that are already written in a book for some folk yesterday, and it just kind of irritated me. And I said, wait a minute, you know, that's why I took the 3 months in the beginning of the year to do, was to do all these books. So we're going to get them printed. But there was a time in my life, and some people can witness this, the All About for One, who will be on the radio blog show, where the phone that we had, the number, You Live and Learn, was given out on the website of the African Village. And long story short, that went to the left, south really fast, and that phone had to go away. You see how I covered the highlights there? And so we said, whoa, you know. So that really, like, set me back in my little house in Winfield, where, like, you can't even walk to a store, okay? So to say to myself, well, let me see, how am I going to get out of this phone contract with my husband's phone contract people? How will people call me directly if I make my money through how people call and find me? I sat in my house, and it wasn't even a whole day went by. At the time, my eldest daughter and her children lived with me. Her phone started buzzing. Husband got home from work, his phone started buzzing. Next thing I know, that week was filled with about 8 or 9 people. I don't even know how much money passed through hands. It was just amazing. It was just like if the Spirit said to me, don't you ever think that you have the top ability to wield how people or money come and go from you. We already told you, if you'll sit still and do what you're supposed to do, money will find you. Anybody who's ever been to my house know Winfield is pretty far out in the woods, and for people from all over different cities, that region of Georgia, to come and find me, didn't know me, somebody told them about me, and then furthermore gave them my husband or my daughter's phone number as a way to reach me. It was amazing. So I say to you again, because that for me, that's a big ancestral wisdom that lives with me every time I think I'm not doing too much or enough, or I don't have enough money, or I need to do this, how am I going to do that, and all that chatter starts in my head, which is where we're going to close this little piece out on, the chatter in our head. I remember my Father in heaven saying, if you run and chase after money, you'll never find it. But if you do what you're supposed to do, money finds you. So I concentrate every day on, yes, Marcus, it's true. I concentrate every day on trying to have the clearest vision I can of what it is I'm supposed to do today. And then that kind of energetically sets everything in order. So we have to get out of our own way. We have to stop looking outside of ourselves for the leadership or the answers. We have to move the current distractions and avoid any incoming distractions. And so, you think about it. You say, well, I'm not distracted or preoccupied. Really? All of us are. People are mainline addicted to these machines and cell phones and Facebook and Instagram. The list is endless. And so, if in doubt that that's true for you, ask yourself what your core beliefs are, what your core values are. You should have at least like a top 5 in each area. If you can't name them, which a lot of people can't, you might well figure out that something has been distracting you from a very important conversation your soul is waiting to have with itself. So, in coming to a close, this is what the medicine men and women think about. I know that I have a wide variety of things I put out there on my Facebook page, wide variety. And you say, wow, what does she really believe? Well, I don't not believe too much. Because bridge building and peacemaking brings all of the beliefs into the room. See how that went? I don't have to agree with them all. But I do have to have enough respect to bring them all into the room together. This is where we're going, folks. And, you got a lot of energies out there that want to burn both the candles at both ends, or pit people further against one another, or create these, gaps where there once were just little cracks in the emotions of our really turbulent history together. We're bigger than this. And it is why I say that each of us that are here, as opposed to the ones checking out every day, left and right, we came to do this. We are the leaders we've been waiting for. We are the magicians that we've been waiting for. We are the healers that we've been waiting for. Who else are we waiting for? Well, some people are waiting on the second coming, and I'm not denying that either. But as I told my mother, I won't be caught up in the rapture. See how we know this? If you remember deep enough into your soul's conversation, you can know certain things, and I've known this since I was a small child in church, that I wasn't going to get caught up in the rapture, that it was mine to stay here and move as a way shower or a light in a dark place. My grandmother said it'd be gnashing of teeth. You think there's some gnashing of teeth going on right here? Yes. But we're okay with it. So we're here. We love you. We do look forward to coming again in this way through seasons such as this to talk a little bit about our teachings up in the Asheville area, again coming in November. Teachings around the dark moon, another set of sacred intensives, and then of course before the year closes, the season of the Raven, which is a nice little temple call, weekly temple call for the last 6 weeks of the year, so that we can kind of, look at some things before we flip into that 2019 energy. So there's good things coming is what we're saying in seasons such as this. Be well, keep it real. Peace.